So, I think we should start off a little bit with some background for you guys because, again, lots to talk about here. There's a lot of things we can go, but I think it's interesting to note that our podcast hasn't been really interviewing a lot of classical musicians or composers or anybody really a lot in that realm. So for a lot of people listening right now, they might be a little bit in awe / confusion about your fields and why you guys decided to go into this field that seems to be a little bit more off the beaten path nowadays, at least. Classical music isn't as much mainstream as it used to be. So my question for you guys, the first one is, what was like the first piece of music that you remember just listening to and impacting you in a significant way? It could be classical or it could be, any sort of music too.
But, oh my God, that's...
I know it's kind of a big one, but like just pick
Adela.
I know. Just pick something that comes to the top of your mind. It's such a hard one, but just something that like when you're thinking of, damn, yeah, when I heard this, it really like.
Well, I gotta say, there are two pieces that I remember from when I was in diapers, and if anyone, hope Disney doesn't sue you for me showing this picture.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
But it really sums up my childhood. So here is a still from Fantasia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here is a still from me as a baby.
Aww, so cute.
And that particular piece that was playing there was Bach's Toccata and Fugue in D minor, orchestrated by Stokowski. And so I grew up hearing the famous organ piece as an orchestra piece, and never realized that it was originally for organ. And I was exposed to grandiose, super romantic, lush orchestrations by Stokowski growing up because of Fantasia. It was that piece and his orchestration of Night on Bald Mountain that really I latched onto as a kid. I learned in diapers how to rewind a VCR just so I could watch those parts again and again. And I would take the cushions off the couch, form a podium, and conduct like that with Leopold Stokowski. And so I have to say it was the Fantasia repertoire that really sold me on classical music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's the best origin story we've ever had on this show.
Yeah. A little baby conducting.
Just a little
That's
baby
great.
Ari just conducting with his pillows. That is amazing. And that's so cool that you have such a vivid memory of that too to this day.
I have a vivid memory, and the most beautiful part is that couch and those cushions are in the next room. Couch and cushions.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
The energy is still there.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Henry?
Well, it's hard. That's a great story, Ari.
You have to follow that up.
Yeah, how do you follow that up? Well, look, I mean, there's two pieces that kind of stick out.
You were born with a conductor's wand in your hand.
I'm sorry?
Trying to write this for you to make it better. You were born with a conductor's wand in your hand.
That's right.
It was right out. Like the doctors were like, "Whoa, we've never seen this before."
Well,
this man is destined for greatness.
That's a great kind of segue, I think, because I truly believe that there are actually two kinds of conductors. I believe Simon Rattle said this, or someone really quite famous said this, and it always rang true to me. There's two kinds of conductors. One that are just kind of born, and they have this. They're born with this kind of stature that they kind of belong on this, commanding the 80 people in front of them. And the kind of moments of doubt, perhaps, that they feel are always kind of fleeting. And then there are people kind of on the other side of the thing where I identify with, which is every time you step on a podium, you're always questioning yourself, have I done enough? Am I enough? Have I learned enough? do I have enough to offer? Am I prepared enough to stand in front of these people to best make use of their time and their energy, right? Because when you stand in front of an orchestra, you have anywhere from I guess 30 to 100 people, they're all people like Ari, right? They grew up breathing, living, thinking, feeling music, and they spend their whole lives. And we as musicians, we know like how many. I was a pianist originally, and I remember practicing 10, 12 hours a day in my undergrad, and so there's all these kind of sacrifices that we know as musicians, and the thing is, so I'm always in the camp of as a conductor to hope that I've done enough to make all their hard work worth it. Mm-hmm. That's a kind of a tangent, but I love that idea of some people, and there are people, and I have colleagues, and they're great human beings as well, that are just born with this mentality, this confidence, this inner confidence, and I'm so envious of these people that they can just stand there and feel like they have they just somehow know. I don't. It's something that's beyond my psychology.
Mm-hmm. So what about that
return
favorite
to the
piece?
piece. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say. So what about that favorite piece then? Yeah, too.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a little. There's two pieces. One is kind of how I got into music. My family wasn't necessarily very musical growing up, but I always remember this little theme that went like and everyone knows that theme. But I, as a 3-year-old, first hearing it, had no idea. But I always had this kind of earworm. That's how you say it in German. I forgot how you say it in English anymore.
It's
like a melody that sticks in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I use that in English. Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful. So I had this melody stuck in my head forever until maybe when I was 13 years old. I finally asked my mother. I said, "Hey, what is this? What is this?" And she's like, "How do you know this thing?" I was like, "I don't know. I've always had it in my head." And she said, as silly as it sounds, my father had this little red Honda in Taiwan growing up. And every time you open a door, apparently it would play for a lead. And that was why I actually wanted to start playing piano. I was like, that was my goal. My ambition in life was to play for a lead on the piano.
It was better than having your goal be a Honda.
Yes, absolutely. And then of course the piece that made me want to even allowed me to dream to be a conductor was first time listening to Brahms Symphony No. 4, especially the first movement. There's something about this piece that it's as if life and your dreams and everything existed. You've lived 1,000 lives, and all of a sudden it just starts the way it begins, and you're just plugging into something that's always been and always will be. And that idea of like, oh wow, you could be a person that kind of plugs into that kind of metaphysical world, that philosophical world, musical world, was intoxicating.
Mm-hmm. Great, nice.
Not as good of a story as Ari's, but
no,
are you kidding?
Great.
No, it's pretty good.
The Honda made it.
Mm-hmm.
Honda.
That's incredible. Are you tired of listening to the same bands over and over again?
Over and over.
Stop listening to what mainstream media chooses for you.
You filthy casual.
And try something new. Tune in to the Underbelly Hours every Sunday night at 6 p.m.
on WRSE 88.7 FM.
For exclusive interviews, unreleased content, and more from the depths of Chicago's underground. I'm Adela.
I'm Dan.
Take off your coat and stay a while!
Now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you stream your podcast, thanks to Ox Audio, a Chicago-based podcasting platform.